mentally math!
Let's get mental! Valentine's Day edition.
Valentine's Day edition.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. Wait, you read it edition? What? Hey, I get it.
Mental math. Let's focus on math, please.
I get it.
Dokie. I'm sure people by now have had time to get out in front of me. Alright, so 2 negatives do make a positive, and so we have negative 8, which means we're combining a value of positive 2 with a value of positive 8, getting us a value of 30. And our exponents here, I just need to add 6 zeros, right? 1, 2, oh, that's a terrible 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and come on my way back. 4 million. Then that's really just 2/3. Yeah, and so then I can say, well, half of 30 is 15 times 3. The A equals 45. And did anyone actually try to do this with the number 61?
You're kidding!
Really? Okay. No, it's just 60. Estimate.
I did it! He's back!
Estimate. Alrighty, okay, alright, good talk. Okay, so then for 60, so then 10%, I'm gonna do the 10% plus 5% thing. So 10% of 60 is 6, then the next half of that would be 3. So this would be, oops, hold on, let me finish my thought here. $9. Is this gonna help move us forward?
No.
Then let's move forward. Alright. Then 25 centimeters to millimeters, so they're 100 centimeters, so that's 25 hundredths of a meter. And then, yeah. So you got 4.5. Well, okay, great. Okay, then. And so let's see, for 12, I can just divide 12 by 3, be 4, then 4 times 4 is 16, n equals 16.
So for these problems, you do it like the reverse. Like when you do like 3/4 of 12, you do 12 divided by 4 times 3. So for these problems, you do 12 times 4 divided by 3? Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, do whatever mentally math method that you want. My thing is to just get my unit of... if that's 3/4, then I can divide that by 3 to figure out 1/4, and then I can multiply that by 4 to get my n. But I mean, there are probably quicker, simpler ways to go about it than that. If you have your own mentally math path, then that's perfectly fine. All right, so then I can look at this and say, oh, well, that adds up to 150, so 250. Then 320 divided by 4 is 80. Yeah?
You can mentally math it by doing 70, 60, blank, 90, 100.
Uh-huh. Okay.
70, 60, 80. I mean, yeah, 60, 70, blank, 90, 100. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
Okay, cool. That's an interesting path you have chosen. Okay, so 10% of 50 is 5 times 6 is 30 plus 2 divided by 4 times 2 square root times 9 square root times 7 and divided by 2 would be 21. 21. Okay, so today we are talking about, well, in most cases, what percentage? But in some cases it's what number. It just depends on what angle we're going at. So percent of a number, part 2, and so actually the sort of mental exercise we've been doing lately, where we just take a sentence and convert it to an equation, works great for this. It does. It turns it into really kind of very, very, very simple process, and so I can definitely see the value as because say when you're looking at questions like this for the CTP, this you can use this technique to parse the sentence and figure out what equation you need to solve. So I think you've had some practice at this, so why don't you try to convert this sentence into equation? What percent of, remember what that means, is, remember that, so what percent of 40 is 25? So I'll take a deep breath and let you start figuring out ahead of me. Just do what we've been doing. Then we can take the what percent.
Mr. Peck, I feel like there's a part in this problem that's really not needed.
A part in this problem?
Like,
what percent?
For example, when he does like what WP times 40 over 40, I don't think that part is needed because you're anyways going to do 25 over 40.
Well, thank you for that, but is it needed? That would need to be a question for the people that made the math book. Yes, I think that we can look at it and realize that we're just reducing 25th 40ths. However, we are practicing a technique where we translate sentences into equations.
So when they say it like this on the test, like this question on a test, do you have to write it down in that sentence from there?
If it doesn't say you have to, then no. But I think that, like I said, I think that this is a valuable tool to have in your toolbox. Is generally means an equal sign, and then 25. And so there we now have an equation, and so we can divide each side by 40. So yes, if you know what you're doing, you really could have just skipped straight to there. Sure. But it's just a nice thing to practice. Sooner or later, you might be getting sentences that aren't so easy to just look at and know what you're supposed to do, and then being able to write an equation and then knowing how to solve equations can be super handy. So okay, well I can reduce this, can't I? To 5/8. I can divide each one by 5. Okay, and then now I want to convert my fraction to a decimal, which I can then convert to a percent. Okay, well I'm assuming you know how to do it.
Yep.
So just check yourself with me. Okay, so we can figure out the percent of any fraction by just doing it as a division problem. Yeah, we can say, ooh, okay, then 36, 48, 22. I'll need one more zero there. 92, 16, another 40. And that gets us to, there's our decimal. And then the book is kind of an interesting way of kind of visualize what you're doing to convert that to a percentage. Is you could think of it as the conversion is sort of like out of a almost like a unit conversion of 625,000 times 100% means that you can multiply this by 100, which is 2 boingies, boingy, boingy, getting you 62 and 5/10, and then this can be carried into it as well. Percent. And you absolutely could just say 62.5% and you're fine. Yes. Okay. Well, can you look and see how I did it and look and see how you did it and figure out why? It sounds like you just need to put your decimal in a different spot because we're dividing it by 5, which means we're dividing 5 by 8, which means we will have to have a number smaller than 1 as our answer, because we're asking how many 8s are in 5, and answer is less than 1. Okay, cool.
Mr. Frederick?
Yes. Okay, great.
My brain cannot comprehend this.
Okay, so see if you can convert this sentence to an equation. What percent of $3.50 is 28 cents? Okay, so what percent of means times 350 is means an equal sign and 28 cents. So then we just need to divide each side by $3.50. And I suppose there's some kind of voodoo we could talk about of saying, well, these two dollar signs cancel each other out. But really, you can throw out the dollar signs. You know, you don't need to worry about the dollar signs when you're actually doing your equation. Because why? Why do I not need to worry about the dollar signs one way or another? Whether I'm saying something fancy like, oh well, you see these are dividing, so. But yeah.
Because they don't change their value or anything.
It's a simpler Simpler answer than that.
They don't.
Why can't we just throw out the dollar signs? Yeah.
Because it's measuring percent.
Right.
Oh,
Is our answer is not asking how much money of anything.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's asking what percent it is. So we don't need to even think about the dollar signs. However you want to think of it. Okay, so now I can set up myself an equation here where 35, but of course I cannot have a decimal in my divisor, so I will need to multiply them both by 10. So that'll be 2 8/10. And I'm gonna need some zeros. Okay. And so then that will get me to and then we can think, oh, okay. It's well, a little mental math. We can say, well, that's divisible by 70. Pretty simply, like, you know, it's like 7 times 4 is 28. So instead we could say, since that's half of 70, please don't roll around on a roller.
I was sitting down.
And so I can do a little mental math to know that would be an 8. And that will totally get me there. Okay, so now that I've got this,
Mr. Petrus?
uh-huh.
Wait, no.
Okay, so I've got my decimal. And I can get my what percent. So this kind of little stuff. I mean, really, you can just say, okay, I times it by 100 and, well, throw a percentage sign on it. But if we're showing steps, that's our next step, which gets us to 8%. Because I times it by 100. Boingy, boingy. And I bring my percent over there.
Wait, Mr. Petrie,
Yeah?
but is it okay to use dollar sign?
There's no point in it. It's not asking how much money of anything.
And about, would you take off points on the test if you did use dollar sign?
If your answer had a dollar sign in it and it's not asking for dollar signs, no. But if you had that, if in your step sheet you had that, I'd probably ignore it. Like, I'd probably, if your answer was just a nice
And
correct
like if you said-
percentage.
But if like if you made the answer with a percentage, sorry, with the
Oh, what if your answer had that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you definitely lose points, because that is definitely not what it's asking, and 8% dollars doesn't make any sense. So
Dollars 8%.
so yeah, you would definitely lose points for that, because that would be a sign that you completely misunderstood what the question was asking. All right, 75% of what number is 600?
Lucky with it. Yeah, your accents on math are very cool.
All right, so see if you can parse that one. There is a step that, well, you could skip. I'm going to show the step, but you could skip it if you wanted to.
Is it the one?
Where, well, I'll just go straight to the chase here. So, I mean, this would go down to here, but we can't really work with that very well, right? So, let's convert that to a decimal by dividing it by 100, or I guess dividing it by 100%. Then of times what number is
75%.
well, I mean, you can, this is a step, and then write the decimal as your next step. No biggie. But yeah, we do need to convert that to a decimal to work with it in the equation. And then we just need to divide each one by that. And so once again, I cannot have this decimal in my divisor. So I'm going to need to multiply each one by 100. Getting us this crazy long number.
Oh my god.
Uh-huh.
60,000.
Mm-hmm. Right, but basically we're asking how many 75s are in that.
What did you want us to skip in this?
Let's see. I was just saying if you wanted to skip, like, I mean, technically you could first write out the equation like that as a first step, and then switch to this as your next step with the decimal. But you could just skip this completely and just write it down as a decimal in the first place. Okay, let's see. And let's see. 70,600.
Wait, what did you do? The way I did it was I did 100 over 75 times 600.
However you want to do it. And then let's see. That's gonna get me. Let's see. What do I need to? Oh, what do I need to multiply by to get the 600? Be what? 7 or 8? Am I going too high? 8? 8, I think. 8, 10, 5, 40. Oh, okay, yes. And then, okay, there we go. Okay, so that gets us to what number equals 800? Alright, how are we doing here? Give me 1, 2, or 3? How are we feeling? Okay.
Infinity. And beyond.
Okay, alright. Okay, pretty. Okay, yay, infinity. Okay, alright, I'll take this. There's a couple of twos, but it's okay. It's just a matter of like just practicing the steps.
An 8 that's turned 90 degrees.
We're good. Okay. And 50 is what percent of 40? Think about what the words mean and what that equation should look like.
Goodbye, what number?
Well, just remember what is and of mean. I'll take a deep breath, let you get out ahead of me.
This is actually, I'm really insulted.
Okay, that needs to go away.
This is my ruler.
And you need that right now for what? Basically, no. Please put it away. Okay, so 50, and then is, so that's our equal sign. What percent of 40?
We also do what percent times 40 is equal to 50.
That's not what it says though. I mean, yeah, by by the identity property, yes, you could switch those around, but if we're translating these directly, that's what it would look like. But yeah, I mean, sure, if you know what you're doing, and okay, and yes, could you put that away? Alright, so then we just need to divide each side by 40. And then just need to break that down. So we can... Oh yeah, sure. And so 1, 2, 5. All right. So now I've got my decimal. But I need to convert that to my percent. Getting me 125%. 50 is 125% of 40. Because basically we're adding 1/4 of 40. Getting us 50. Da-da! Alright, last one! 60 is 150% of what number? Okay, so convert our sentence into your equation and solve. Okay, so remember what our is and our what and our of means. Alright, so 60 is 150% of what number? But of course, I need to make that into a decimal, so I'm going to divide that by 100 and take away my percent. Oh, that is up with 7. And then I just need to divide each side. And of course, I will need to eliminate my decimal there by multiplying each one by 10. I mean, really, this can't be done with mental math, couldn't it? And then 4 times 15 is 60. And then we just add 0. So what number equals 40? Is 60 150% of 40? Yes! Thank you. Okay, so those are examples.